Today we're going to see how we can automatically take the watchers from a parent ticket and add those watchers to a subtask or multiple subtasks. And we're going to do that using power scripts from C Prime. So what I have here is a parent ticket, and I have 3 watchers on it. And then underneath of that, I have these subtasks which do not have any watchers, and we're going to automatically take those watchers and add them to the subtasks. Now, in order to do that, we're going to create a scheduled task, and the difference between or what that is, rather, it's a task that runs every hour or every 5 minutes or every day, whatever you have it set at. So detecting or you need an opportunity to run a script. So you put a script in a workflow. So when I hit start progress, I can run a script. Or when it detects a change in an issue or detects an issue being created, that's a listener, I can run a script. Or when the edit screen is open, that can trigger running a script. But none of those things really happen when you add a watcher. It doesn't qualify to Jira that you've actually edited the issue. You've just kind of assigned yourself to that ticket. Very different than a sign event too. So that's okay. We still have options. We can still run that script. We just have to do it based on the schedule. So let's see how I went about doing this. So first thing I did is I said, how do I know what the parent tickets are? I needed a way to select only tickets with subtasks. And I thought it might be a pretty useful thing to reuse again in the future. So I actually wrote a custom JQuery function called issues with subtasks. So what I have here is the first parameter you would pass in this example, it's a JQuery search string. So it's kind of like the master list of issues. It could be all the issues in a project, or it could just be all bugs within a project, whatever you specify. So I have this array value that runs that JQuery. That's what that select issues function does. And then I have this empty array that will hold the values that I want returned that meet our criteria. So then I loop through each of the individual issues in the array called keys, and if the size of the subtask array that's returned by the subtask function, passing it the key k, isn't 0, if it actually has subtasks, add it to this return array, and then at the very end return the return array, and that could be 1 ticket or it could be 100 tickets. Let's see if I go to current search. So here it is in use. I say key in sil JQuery list, which is a function that returns multiple tickets. I call the name of the script I wrote the JQuery function project equals EX. And I said, you know what, make sure it's not closed, so in status category is not in done, which is regular JQuery in addition to this this custom script we wrote, which is pretty powerful. So these two have subtasks, and that brings us back to our example ticket, number 17 here, where I have the 3 watchers on the parent and none on the children. So then let's go back to this add watchers to subtasks. So just like we did in our custom jQuery function, we said select issues, but now the jQuery we pass in is reusing that custom jQuery we wrote, so we're essentially calling another script. And just like the syntax in that other one, we called this array keys, and we're looping through, and it says for string k in keys, for string s in subtasks of k. So this pulls all the subtasks for the individual parent ticket k. And for each subtask, we're saying all the watchers of the subtask, add on to that all the watchers of the parent. And important note is we're using the substitution syntax, which transforms just a string, because here I'm just saying, hey, this is just a string variable s. It transforms my string variable into an actual Jira issue object that has values where you can retrieve and set values, rather than just a plain string right here, that I'm specifying. I'm literally saying it's just a bit of text here in S. It's just a bit of text here in K. And just by adding these percent signs, we're changing it into something completely different. It's very simple, very quick, very powerful. So that's our script, but we still need to run it. So what we do is we come down here to our SIL scheduler. And I'm going to schedule a job. And I'm going to make it an interval. So you have two options, interval and cron. And cron is the system scheduler on Linux. And cron, you can say things like, run it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. But we're going to do something much easier. We're just going to say interval. And what an interval says, I can run it every hour or every day or every 5 seconds. So intervals a little bit more straightforward than cron. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just run it after 5 seconds. But I'm not going to make it repeatable because this is just an example. Because we don't want this eating up processing power running every 5 seconds. We probably only want to run it every, I don't know. Depending on the project you're pointing at, the number of issues you're going to be searching through, you may only want to run this 20 minutes or every 30 minutes or every hour or even once a day. I don't know. It's up to you. Add watchers to subtask, and we say schedule. And this should run, and in a couple seconds I can refresh this window, and it'll actually disappear because I didn't want it repeatable. I only wanted it to run once. As it says here, run once. And now it's gone. But if I look at my subtask here, which currently has 0 watchers, if I refresh the page, we still have 0 watchers. Yay! Now I hit pause there for a minute, but point is the script did not work, and I commonly make this mistake, and I'm going to leave this in the video just in the hopes that somebody else doesn't make the same mistake. What you're doing is at the system level you are running this script, but unless you run the script as a user, when I run the jQuery search I get no results because I don't have permission as an anonymous user to run a search on the project by the normal Jira security settings. So I'm going to run this as myself. Try this again. Make sure it's repeatable is turned off. And if it works, I'm going to kick myself because it is not the first time I've done this. It's not the second time I've done it, and it's not the third time I've done it. You would think I've learned my lesson by now. Alright, now we're going to try again. Yes! Okay! There you have it. So the watchers, let's see, should be 3, Johnson, Ethan, and myself, got inherited from the parent. Johnson, Ethan, and myself. And let's see, we just looked at 19, so let's look at 20. And you can see there's 3 watchers there too. So this will continue to run, continue to add watchers. You know, if I schedule it to run every half an hour, it'll just keep adding watchers to the subtask indefinitely, based on the criteria of the project I passed. And honestly, I think it could be a really handy script. So I hope you use it. So that's how you add the watchers from the parent to subtasks, using power scripts from C Prime. Thanks for watching.